A very good afternoon to you all. On behalf of KVS RO Jabalpur, I welcome all the students and the teachers watching this channel today for the subject of informatics practices. I thank our DC sir to give me this chance to be present before you all and discuss the syllabus as well as the topics of informatics practices and computer science. So to start with, I like to present my PPT along with the session of IP. Let's start here. One more thing, students. Before we actually start the session, I would like all the students to keep their notes with them and keep on noting down the important points what they find here in this presentation. See, I have tried to put a picture here. We are initiating and we have to reach some heights of our syllabus. So, dear students, hope you all are ready. Let's come to our next slide. Today's session on class 12 informatics practices will be covering unit 2 of the syllabus and will be also covering unit 3 of computer science syllabus. Dear students, before actually going to the session, I like you all to know the highlights of your syllabus. So here we see where are we going to get our actual syllabus. Our actual syllabus is available in the website cbseacademic.nic.in, and in that particular site you always have to take it from the curriculum tab. Moreover, IP and CS syllabus link are present here before you all so that you don't be confused and always take the things from the authentic resources. One more thing, students, as till now our book for IP and CS both are still not published by NCERT as I checked yesterday. I want you all to wait for the book. Do not purchase any book from the market without confirming the syllabus. Moreover, what your teachers are going to teach you, tell you will be authentic and will cover and see all the parts of your syllabus. Fine. So let's come to the next part. This is the syllabus portion, a snapshot I have taken from the syllabus 2020 and 21. The IP class of 12th will have 4 units. Similarly, the computer science class is going to have 3 units. So the units number seems to be fine. For computer science, it looks like quite a small syllabus. But this year, as we have heard, CBSE is going to cut down some part of syllabus in the benefit of students. And for that reason only, probably they have designed a fabulous syllabus for you, which has all the important things. And so here you see the unit 2 of IP. It talks about database query using SQL. While the unit 3, it talks about database management in computer science portion. Now because these two units of IP and CS, they are quite similar and very important in terms of knowledge. So I have decided to start first class of IP of this reason and also of CS with a common syllabus part. Now let's see, this is the roadmap. In the syllabus of IP, we have these topics. It starts with the functions, math function, text function, date function, aggregate function and so on as visible to you. In CS, it starts with the database concepts. Then it has relational data model. Finally, it also comes to structured query language and then all the type of SQL commands. Now, why I decided to have a combined session for you people? IP and CS persons. It is only because if we start with the CS part and then in between we do this IP part also and covering all the things from CS syllabus curriculum unit 3, our students will be benefited with all the aspects of database management system, the knowledge of each and every terminology. They will grasp the power to work on SQL. They will gain the confidence about the database management system. So after this analysis, we decided that a database part may be studied concurrently by both the students, not only class 12th. I think this part is good for class 11th student also, especially the IPs, because they have few portion of the beginning the database concept in their class 11th. Once again, to remind you all, the syllabus of IP and CS has been revised again this year. So do not go for the old books. Moreover, have a fine vision of your syllabus to study well. If you start with a good planning, you will surely come and reach to a success. So just see what is this database management system. Why I started with this topic. I have given few quotations here. Data is the new science. Big data holds the answers. The goal is to turn data into information and information into insight. You can have data without information, but you cannot have information without data. These are the quotations said by the dignitaries of our ICT and IT departments about the data. You know how the data becomes database management system and how and why this data is very important. Data, that is raw fact and figure. This data, that is raw fact and figure, it has a important quality. It is only fact or figure. It do not has anything else. Don't think that this data is information. What is information? When processed, then only data becomes information. So how to do this processing? How this processing happens? It becomes record only when the meaningful data combines. Meaningful data when combines become records, and the collection of these records become table. Multiple tables combine to form a database, and so many databases they group together to make a complete database management system. Database management system or database query using SQL. This portion we are going to look here, and here it starts with the topic of syllabus, relational databases. It has this particular topic in introduction part. Before coming to the formal definition, I am showing you a screenshot here. This screenshot is going to show you few tables. The name of tables are given here: student, courses, and take scores. And this is a view of relational database management system. Right now, I am not explaining them. I will first introduce you few things about the slides shown here. Then the topics, the terminologies of database. Then we will see what are these tables, what are the things contained in these tables. Fine. So what is a database? The first question that comes in your mind right now. Database and what is a database management system? Both are same thing or different? So students, the first thing is that both are different things. A database is a collection of related data. Be careful when I'm saying related data, that means the data must have some logical relationship. It should not be some data from another source and another data from another source, and both are not at all related. They have to be related in the way so that excuse me, so that they can give you a proper information, because after all information is something that we have to use. It's not the actual data that we use. What do we use? We use the information from the data. So database management system is what? It is a collection of program that enables, that manages the database. It creates the database, it maintains the database. Why do we use a database management system? What are the requirements of a database management system? See what happens, we write few things in our copies also. They are not actually the database management system, because what happens when we write in our copies, we write in a random manner. Like, as we see, when we write in our copies, we do one thing. What we do? Suppose I have to note down the phone number of some friend of mine. He gave me the phone number. I wrote in page number 5. Next time, that friend again gave me his number, that it is changed and now please have my new number. Maybe I had another copy and I wrote over there. Or if I had the same copy, I wrote in some other page. In this way, we are not following a strict rule of writing something in our copies. But when we write in a telephone directory, what do? We write the things exactly at the place of alphabet in the telephone directory. So this is the difference between the managed data and uh, ill-managed data or non-managed data. What happens in the copy, it is not structured, while in database the data is always structured, and that is why I say we prefer database management system to manage the data. Why? Because it controls the redundancy. What is redundancy? It is that it controls the repetition of data in unnecessary manner. Rather, we can say it has a controlled repetition of the data. It is safe because it restricts unauthorized access. It provides a great amount of storage for the program, the objects, and the data structures. It applies so many inferences and rules over the database. Multiple users can use the same database, as you have seen in the railway reservation system or the banking system. You are able to withdraw your money from any ATM in the country because of only this database facility, that multiple users can use different interfaces and utilize this facility of sharing the database. Similarly, one single database of railway management system is being utilized by a number of passengers in our country. It is only because we have a common database and multiple users are using it. It enforces the integrity constraints. It shows a proper relationship between the different entities or the files of the data. It provides you the backup and recovery techniques and the options in its uh, particular framework. So, this is a small introduction of database and how we travel from database to DBMS to RDBMS. Dear students, I am trying to cover each and every word. I am trying to discuss each and every word from your syllabus. So it would be better that you people concentrate on the terms I am talking here and keep on noting in your notes file also. Moreover, right now, do not be engaged all the time in writing. You can always access this video later on and you can watch it again and again, have a review and study it well to get expertise in this topic. Now, continuing here, database comes in all different shapes and sizes. That means in different ways we can store the databases. It generally has an ASCII data structure or a complex binary tree structure depending on the type of database management system. So database is simply a collection of data. But how to manage this data? We use the database management system. What do we use is database management system. We call it DBMS. Now question comes in your syllabus also, it is mentioned what is RDBMS. So let's see here, the relational, the word R when added to database, what happens to it. This relational part, it refers to the fact that different collections or the objects of the data that is within this RDBMS, it together works as a unit. It works in unison in a proper manner so that the data can be accessed in a proper way. Let's see various examples of this RDBMS. See here you have a MySQL, Informix, Sybase, Oracle and many more other in the proprietary world of softwares as well as in the open source category. I'm mentioning MySQL because it is an integral part of LAMP suite, which is open source software. What is this relational data model? I have shown you this picture in the beginning also, है ना? So this relational database model is visible here. See this, what does it depicts? It tells that every database is a collection of relations. What is this relation? Yes, this relation is nothing but the table, a value containing tables. These tables are also called as relation in relational database model. Every row in table also represents a collection of related values. So see the term related, and that is why probably this relational data model. These rows in a table denote a real world entity or a relationship. Just see in the table students, when I say a particular row, for example, ID is given 500, name is given as Matt, and phone number and date of birth. It is of a particular person called Matt. Similarly, other row depicts the information about another person. One more thing, all these three tables are connected to each other in a particular relationship. And what is this relationship about? It tells that the student table is taking out its information of ID from which table? A student's ID is connected to take course. So this ID is giving the description of courses of a particular student. For example, ID 500 is having a class ID 1001. What does it mean now? This further 1001. What is happening here? This 1001 is connected to this class ID. So what is 1001? It is a course which talks about the intro to informatics. So just see the linkages from one table to another table and from another table to another table. It's not necessary only three linkages. It can be as many as possible. And for this reason only it is called as relational data model. And these tables are called as relations. Let's learn few terms used in RDBMS. After learning these terms, I think understanding the database management system will be a bit easy for you all. So the first term visible here is domain. What is domain? A pool of values from which the actual values appear in a database. I will go back to the slide and explain you later. Let's see the definition first. Tuple. Yes, tuple means any row or record in a relation. So this tuple is a row or record. Remember, there are three names for a tuple in database. It is tuple or record or a row. Fine. Next is attribute. Attributes are also the columns of any database table. Now what is degree? Total number of attributes appearing in any table. Cardinality, total number of tuples appearing in any table. Then view, a virtual table that actually do not exist, but it takes its values from some other underlying tables. Now I am again saying the terms domain, tuple, attribute, degree, cardinality, view. There are few more terms, but first these primary terms. So domain, the values, the pool of values from which the columns or the data part or attributes of any database derives their value. Tuple, the record or the row. Attribute, the column. Degree, the number of attributes. Cardinality, the number of tuples. View, the virtual table. We are going to discuss them in the next slide. See this slide. Here we will concentrate on the table students. Now students, this name is called as the relation. What is tuple? One complete row. Here one complete row, where is this? 500 mat and then so on is one row, is called one tuple. 501 another tuple. 502 the complete row, another tuple. So in this way we see that we have three tuples in the relation student. Can you say how many tuples are there in takes course table? Please see it once. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So how many tuples? They are 4 tuples. Yes, very good. Now you can say that the table courses has how many tuples? 3. I know you can answer it. It is 3. Now attributes. I said in the previous slide, attribute means the columns. 1 column, 2 column, 3 column and 4 columns. So here we have first, second, third and fourth. There are total 4 columns. So these 4 columns are called as attributes. And the tuples are the records. Columns are the attributes. Takes course table. It has how many attributes? 3 attributes. Courses table. It also has how many attributes? Yes, 3 attributes. So the next definition, the next term we have studied was degree. Degree means the total number of attributes. In the table students, how many attributes do you count? I have already counted earlier and written it here. It is 4. So degree of this table students is 4. Degree of table courses is question mark for you all. It is 3. Degree of the table takes course is 3. Then what is the cardinality? Count the records, count the tuples and say it as the cardinality. The first table students has a cardinality of 3. The second table takes course. I find 4 records there, and for the 4 records the cardinality is 4. The table courses has a cardinality of 3. Quite good. I am coming back to slide and see some more terms. So other terms here are the keys. What are the keys? Fine. So keys are the special powered attributes of a table. When few special features get added to the table columns or the attributes, we call them as the key. Here in any database, we have few special type of keys and I can name them as primary key, candidate key, then alternate key, foreign key, and then later on another term comes is the integrity constraint. So first we see what are this primary key, candidate key and then alternate key. So see students, I have given one example table here student. You are able to see it? Yes. So this particular table that is here, just a minute. Fine. In this table student, what do we see is we have the columns roll number, UBI ID, Aadhaar ID, S name, father's name, date of birth, class, city and library ID. How many records are here? Not visible. So right now we cannot say whether this table contains record or not. But it contains columns. How many columns? 9 columns. I am able to see here 9 columns. So this table contains 9 columns. Now let's see what are special about these columns. I have underlined one particular column. Can you see? This is roll number. This roll number column is a special column and I will call it primary key. Why primary key? The definition of primary key says it is set of one or more attributes that can uniquely identify the tuples within any relation. How to identify uniquely? Take an example of your class. For class 12th A, roll number 1. Whenever I will say roll number 1, if that roll number 1 is Abhinash of any class 12th A, it will always refer to roll number 1 Abhinash, not somebody else. So roll number is able to uniquely identify the tuple or the record of the table student. Similarly, if I say roll number 5, he will again or she will again be a particular student. So this is the concept of primary key. Primary key means any attribute which can identify the record, records in the table uniquely. But sometimes one single attribute is not able to identify the record uniquely. In that case, this term comes the set of one or more. What I am saying is the set of one or more, uh, just a minute, the set of one or more attributes. So here this is the set of one or more attributes. I give an example. I normally give this example to my class. When we go out in the market, when your mother sends you to bring a particular soap, say Lifebuoy. When you go to the shop, you say, give me a Lifebuoy. What will happen? Will he give you a Lifebuoy? I am not sure because he will ask you a question. He will ask you, tell me the particular size 150 grams or 75 grams piece you require. So because you are not able to uniquely tell the attribute, he asked you a question. So now suppose you say you require 150 grams Lifebuoy. Now 150 grams of Lifebuoy. Then he may again ask you a question. Some particular different fragrance based Lifebuoy or the common one. So whenever we give a chance of asking question to anyone, we are not giving a unique ID or we are not giving a primary key. So primary key is not necessarily only one attribute. In the case of soap, it can be name of soap and the size of soap. In few other cases, it can be name of the soap, size of soap and the fragrance of the soap. So I hope this primary key is quite clear to you all. Now let's see what is a candidate key. So candidate key, all the attributes of any table which have the property to be a primary key. They all are capable of becoming the primary key. We can keep a set of such keys. See, in the table student, roll number is also uniquely identifying every student. UBI ID, all the students across the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, they all have a unique UBI ID now. So this is also capable of identifying a student uniquely. Aadhaar ID. Indian government has provided unique Aadhaar ID to everyone. So it is also unique. So in my view, this roll number, UBI ID, Aadhaar ID, they all are unique identification factors or the attribute of the table student. So can we say they all are candidate to be the primary key? Yes. So the definition as we know, candidate to be the primary key, such keys are the candidate keys. Now alternate key. When I choose one key out of the primary key, the other keys become alternate key. Correct. When in class, because importance of roll number is more as compared to UBI ID or Aadhaar ID, this roll number is the primary key. UBI ID, Aadhaar ID is the alternate key. Roll number, UBI ID and Aadhaar ID all together, they are candidate keys. Now, let's see the concept of foreign key. Whenever we say foreign key, it always comes with an associated another table. So for your concern here, I have defined another table, and that table is library. See how many columns are here? Three columns. Now, what is the degree of this table? It is obviously 3. Library number is the primary key. What is library number? Primary key. Normally when we write in our generic way, we write a relation like this. The name of the table in brackets, the name of the attributes. We underline the primary key attribute and then close the brackets. So can you see something different here? The library table contains a library number. A student table also contains library ID. And somehow do you all get a feeling that library ID is related to library number? Yes, it is. Every student of every class has a library ID. And this library ID is with the librarian sir or ma'am of your KV who keeps your library number as a record in a file and also the book issued to you and date of issue and some other information. So do you see this library number and library ID has a connection? Through this library number, the librarian sir or madam can get all the information of any student. Yes? And through the library ID, the class teacher can see which books are issued by the student. Yes, that is why this foreign key concept is very important. It actually implements the particular property of relations in relationship model also. So let's come to the definition part. Foreign key. Foreign key is always a non-key attribute. See, in table student, this library ID is a non-key attribute and it derives its values from the primary key of another table. See the library table. Library number is a primary key and this library number is giving its values to the library ID. So I hope the keys are quite clear to you. The primary key, candidate key, alternate key, foreign key, integrity, constraints, the new term. Whenever we like to apply a rule over the database, they have to fulfill some constraints. What are the constraints? The rules applied over the table or the columns of the table. And how are they applied? They are applied in the form of this primary key or the foreign key and few other constraints. We'll surely see them later because right now I haven't taken those all terms. Still, to mention, I can just say and you people can note it down. Unique, not null, foreign key, primary key. Once again, unique, not null, foreign key, primary key. These are few constraints added here. Let's come to the next slide. Constraints I will surely cover in our next session when I will deal it in detail. Right now I have only mentioned few constraints for your just information. So can you give a test here? Can you say what are the candidate keys in the student table? I am able to recognize and hope that you people are also recognizing. Roll number, UBI ID and Aadhaar ID in the student table are the candidate keys. I have already explained and I hope there is no doubt in the concept of keys as well as in the concept of cardinality, degree, attribute, tuple or relation. So we come to the next slide here. Structured query language, that is SQL. So students, this structured query language, what do you think? What is this? Do you do you know anything about it previously? I think in class 11th you have studied a bit. And you are lucky that most few of its part is again in class 12th. And for those who have not studied, let me explain it further. So we are coming to the next topic of our syllabus, and that is SQL, the structured query language. So let's move again. This structured query language is a special language, and where it is applied in some database. So before knowing SQL, I think we must know MySQL to some extent. I will be using this platform MySQL to explain further the queries to you all. So for this reason only, I am introducing you MySQL because it is open source database management system available freely, is very popular, it is able to handle large databases, very fast performance, it is easy to learn. In fact, I will say you will enjoy learning it, you will love to work over this. It uses the structured query language. We mentioned in the previous slide structured query language. This database MySQL uses structured query language. And this MySQL also provides you lot of features of a secure environment for storing or maintaining or accessing your data. So summarize it please. What are the features of MySQL? Yes, you're right. The speed, ease of use, very high performance in the term of scalability and efficiency. Scalability means number of users, great amount of users can use the databases of MySQL simultaneously and it works efficiently in that case too. Cost, zero cost because it is open source software. Portability, easily all the platforms on all the operating systems everywhere it works fine. So portability option is very important nowadays. And above all, the security. You see, because of security only we select few softwares and we reject few softwares. So to have a nice experience with SQL, we will use the MySQL database management system, RDBMS MySQL. Okay, so remember this MySQL. Now let us come to the next term, transactions. Because we are working in database, we must know what are the transactions. What do you think about the transactions? Any idea? Okay, let me say. Transaction in terms of database. In banking, you must have heard about the transaction. You submit some money, you withdraw some money, and you call it as a transaction. In terms of our give and take process, the process is called as the transaction. Same happens in your database also. When we work in database, we are working in the term of data. The data here is our money. So when we save some data in database or we retrieve some data from the databases, we call it transaction. So the definition I love is the unit of work in database is called as the transaction. So every database has the series of transactions and the transactions follow the property of Acid. What is this acid? ACID. A for atomicity, then consistency C, isolation I, durability D. The first letters of each term here in acid is giving you a term: atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So students, if the transactions follow these properties, just believe you are having a wonderful database management system. See this atomicity feature, it means all the operations of the transactions are reflected properly in the database. If it it will work completely. And if something fails out, the transaction will fail completely. It will never happen that some part of transaction is happened and some part is left out. Just think, whenever you go to bank to submit an amount of 5,000, do it ever happens that you submit some 3,000 and 2,000 is left with you? No. Either you are able to submit complete 5,000 at a time, or you will not be able to submit. Fine. So in this way, atomicity says that either all the steps will happen or none will happen. Consistency. It is very important part. The database must remain in a consistent state before and after the transaction. Isolation. There are multiple transactions executing in a database, and every transaction is unaware of the every other transaction. They are happening concurrently, but they are not affecting each and other in any way. So all are working in isolation in a common system. And whatever the transaction has been happened is saved properly in the form of database records. We have to commit it, we have to save it, and then we say that it is durable. So atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability is the very important part of our transaction properties. You can always remember the acid properties, the acronym acid. This SQL, how do we pronounce? We pronounce it as SQL, structured query language, officially accepted, adopted as an industry standard in 1986. It is used to communicate with a database. See, we have a database. How to use the data, how to save the data in database? We will use the language SQL. It is the standard language for any RDBMS, and it can perform all the tasks beginning from creation of the data up to the updation or retrieval of the data. Under this SQL, we have the standard classification of statements of SQL. They are termed as data definition language, data manipulation language, and data control language. Maybe today we will not see the complete details, but I hope you will remember it in their short forms: DDL, DML, and DCL. Data definition language, data manipulation language, and data control language. I will be starting my next session from the explanation of these topics. Just for you people's view, I am going to show the definitions, but I will not discuss them today. You all can read out these slides which are talking about data definition language. I will surely explain them in next session. I'm simply showing you the slides. So right now, not going into the details. Though, as the definition says, it is used to create the data, basically the schema of the data. In the same way, data manipulation commands works on the data. After the data is created, we can work using the DML commands. To control the database or the database entities, we use the DCL commands. Don't worry, I will present them in detail in our next session. So I'm simply sliding this PPT part here. Let's summarize it in a small manner. SQL, the basic thing that you will have to learn in your syllabus will be the data definition language, the data manipulation language. In data definition language, we will learn the three query or the statements: create, alter, and drop, to create the data definition part, and to modify them or to delete them. To work on the data part, not the structure I am saying, to work on the data part, I will be or we will be using the four special queries. They are called as insert, update, delete, and select. What are their purpose, how to use them? We will see them very nicely practically using the MySQL database. It will be continued further in my next session. Till then, I will say again, you can watch this video for a review. The very important, stay home, stay safe and study very well. Be healthy, eat healthy and enjoy the time with your online studies. Without assignment, how can a teacher leave? Please note down your assignment. I am reading out the question. What is database management system? What is database management system? Second, what is candidate key in any relation in database management system? What is candidate key in any relation in database management system? What is foreign key? Your third question. What is foreign key? All the answers are already given in the slide. If you will do a review, you will surely be able to answer them. Compare primary key, candidate key and alternate key. Question number 4. Compare primary key, candidate key and alternate key. Next question. Define degree of any relation in database management system. Define degree of any relation in database management system. I extend it with some example. What is SQL? What is SQL? And the last one that you have to explore, it is differentiate between DDL and DML. Differentiate between DDL and DML. Try to explore this one. And remember, in the end, knowledge is not power until it is applied. Once again, I like to say, knowledge is not power until it is applied. So, please apply the knowledge by reviewing it and by practicing it and make it your power. Do not forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so that you remain updated. Wish you all a very happy session of IP. Have a wonderful day. Once again, we will meet in our next session. Till then, please have a review. Keep on studying well. See you all again.